To get started, I'd like for each of you to look to the person to your left. Now look to the person to your right. One of the three of you has a dormant brain parasite. You probably got it from eating your favorite.
30 seconds into this motherfucking video, we're already being hit with devastating information. 1 in 3 of you have a dormant brain parasite. Let's continue.
Favorite rare steak Friday night, eating that tomato right off the vine, or changing Fluffy's litter box.
So, what is this parasite that 1/3 of the population has? It's called Toxoplasma gondii, and it's a parasite that lives inside of your cells, causing a disease known as toxoplasmosis. Now, if you've ever been around someone who is pregnant, or if you've ever been pregnant, you might remember that pregnant women are not supposed to clean cat litter boxes. This is because pregnant women are extra susceptible to passing this infection, toxoplasmosis, on to their unborn children. When you're infected with this parasite, usually from eating contaminated food, the parasite is put into your stomach, which is just the right ingredient, stomach acid, to break up the cyst wall and allow each of the little parasites inside to invade the intestinal wall. From there, they move into your bloodstream and try to infect the rest of your body's cells. Now, if you have a robust immune system, which most of us do, the infection will actually be cleared pretty quickly, and except in the muscle and brain tissues, because those are immune-privileged sites. If you have an immunocompromising disease, though, like cancer or AIDS, you can experience much more severe side effects of this disease, such as inflammation of the brain and the retina in your eye, and eventually it may lead to death.
So if there's no vaccine or cure for this parasite, why would anybody volunteer to work with it?
Well, volunteer is a pretty strong word. But when I was a sophomore here in college, I met with my advisor to decide when I should apply to medical school. I thought that medicine was the career for me, end of story. But this advisor was a pretty convincing person, and he thought I would regret not having engaged in any undergraduate research while I was here on campus. So I agreed to give it a short trial in his laboratory. Long story short, I stand before you 3 years later.
And for me, it started when I was 4. I would stumble and fall. I would stumble and fall. And one day I decided to test a hypothesis. The hypothesis was that fuzz from my socks was impairing my ability to walk. So I sat down and I picked the fuzz out, piece by piece. And I stood up and I stumbled again. So although my hypothesis was proven false, my intense curiosity and need to answer questions remained. And by the time I got to college, I knew I wanted to be in research. I chose to work on toxoplasma because of an almost necessity to understand how a single-celled organism could control the complexities of the human brain. And I'll take with me the skills I learned.
How a single-cell organism, I repeat, because in the words of all the niggas that like to shit on Bobby's parasite research, because I'm pretty sure I'll give it 5 more years before the whole of the conscious community gonna be focusing on this shit right here. It's gonna go, it is going to parasite research, mud flood, and a host of other things. The ocean is really space. Y'all know what time it is, man. Anyway, a single-cell organism can control the complexities of the human brain. God damn. Let's get it.
Here and apply them towards my doctorate at UNMC and a new partnership with the United States Army Medical Institute of Infectious Diseases.
So, despite coming to research from different paths, Maggie and I arrived in the same laboratory with the same passion for understanding this disease, toxoplasmosis. And with good reason, as it turns out, there are a lot of people who are exposed to toxoplasma every year. So, do me a favor, if you have ever drank any water at all, raise your hand. Should be everyone. If not, please consult your personal physicians. Now, raise your hand for me if you boil every single drop of it that you drink, that you use to brush your teeth, or that you shower in. No one. Okay, well, people here in the United States are sometimes, albeit infrequently, infected through water outbreaks of this parasite. So what happens is snow melt in the mountains and heavy rainfalls can overfill our rivers and lakes. Now, this includes the resources that we use as our drinking water, which are filtered through treatment centers. Well, sometimes when there's too much water, treatment centers actually have to let the water go without being filtered. Instead, they use a process called hyperchlorination. Now, this is perfectly valid in most cases, but toxoplasma is special. It can actually survive hyperchlorination. So in the northern United States a few years ago, we actually had an outbreak of toxoplasma. Young children, pregnant women who hadn't touched a cat, and others were coming into their doctor's office and testing positive for toxoplasma. Now, this is pretty rare, and the cause was ambiguous for a while. But as it turns out, the city was having to hyperchlorinate their water for a few weeks prior to this outbreak because of a massive snowmelt in the mountains. And the toxoplasma was actually getting into the water through an infected mountain lion population several miles away who also used that stream as their water source.
Now, felines like mountain lions are not the only animal population affected by this parasite.
Mountain lions. Still a cat. See, when they say cats, I'm pretty sure everybody think about their domesticated cat and they feel like, well, shit, I'll go out into the wild. I'll be amongst nature. You can't escape this shit, man. So I think we need to start having a real breakdown on what paradise and parasite got to do with each other. Yeah, paradise and parasite. Because if it's hell below, we all got to go. Everybody trying to get to heaven, but in the words of my nigga Rashard, nigga, that's what a fight broke out at. God damn it, let's get it.
Sea coral and oysters can harbor the parasitic eggs, meaning when their predator, the otter, consumes them, they also get the infection. This has led to multiple die-offs of marine species over the years.
So you could say that toxoplasma is a little like the McDonald's of pathogens. It's everywhere. From cockroaches to sea cows to you and to me, toxoplasma is capable of infecting a very wide range of hosts. But it actually has a favorite host. Fluffy, your feline household companion, is the place that toxoplasma most likes to be. It becomes more virulent through sexual reproduction there and is more able to infect other hosts. But why does toxoplasma bother with all of these?
Look how quick my mind worked. Fluffy, the cat, feline, Egypt. Remember that little light bulb that I showed you that I said wasn't a light bulb? It was a motherfucking parasite used to infect people. And what's the motherfucking predominant animal in the Egyptian culture? Them fucking cats, them lions. Because it's easier to infect you with the parasite through the cat because it gets stronger in the feline. What the fuck going on?
These different hosts if it really just wants to be in your cat.
I think this comes back to an interesting study done by the University of California at Berkeley. They took healthy mice and toxoplasma-positive mice and exposed them to bobcat urine, a natural predator scent. Now, the healthy mice did exactly as you would expect. They shied away from their potential mortal doom. But the toxoplasma-positive mice did the exact opposite. They actually sought out their natural predator scent, putting themselves in harm's way. Now, the fear response is one of the most innate traits we have. We share it with mice, with dinosaurs, with sharks. And toxoplasma has figured out a way to rewire a mouse's brain to meet its ends. So how does this type of parasitic mind control?
The parasite rewired the motherfucking mouse to say, nigga, you don't fear this fucking, you don't fear shit, nigga. Walk into your death. Walk to your doom. Become MK Ultra mind control on a micro level. Shall we continue?
Relate to us, human beings.
Well, in humans, our risk-taking response is actually what takes the place of the fear response in mice. So instead of losing our fear of cats, we lose our inhibitions. Infected people are more likely to be involved in car accidents, to engage in risk-taking behaviors.
More likely to be in car accidents, engage in risk-taking behavior. Wait a minute. You telling me that this motherfucking parasite, these people are telling you right now that this parasite got people out here acting crazy. Demon time. Shall we continue?
Infected females are more likely to act promiscuously, while infected males are more likely to behave aggressively.
Females are more likely to act promiscuously, while males are most likely to act aggressively. What the fuck are we seeing in society today? But I'm done for saying everybody controlled by fucking parasites. I guess it ain't a bunch of whole culture and wild ass toxic masculinity going on. Shall we continue?
And to cheat on their partners. But angry men and promiscuous women are rarely eaten by cats. So why does Toxoplasma do this?
This, I think, trickles back to transmission and how Toxoplasma has become the incredibly diverse parasite that it is. Historically and evolutionarily, the more promiscuous females and more aggressive males got more mates, meaning they could have more offspring. So whether you're a human or an earthworm, Toxoplasma will hijack this function to further its world domination. Studies have actually shown.
Did these folks just use the words world domination? Are y'all hearing what I'm hearing on this motherfucking TED Talk, or we just gonna continue to act dumb about what the fuck the micro world is? Micro to macro, micro to macro, macro to micro. Yeah, I'm slow. Parasites we've been figured out parasites. But y'all figured out everything's about parasites except this shit that these folks telling you right now, that this shit is in 1 in 3 people. The world is on demon time. Women is on fuck whoever time. Men is on wild, aggressive, kill everything time. The youth is out of control. The girls is fucking at the whoever they wanted. Everything is all out of array. People are into full out crash dummy mode, and we saying, what the fuck is going on? It's a new world order. And these 2 white ladies is on the fucking stage telling you, nope, it's a parasite that's seeking world domination. Shall we continue?
That Toxoplasma can survive and be potentially transmitted during sex, making it a sexually transmitted disease. That's now 4 ways you can get this pathogen: orally, blood, mother to baby, and sexually.
But this isn't just a one-way street. As much as Toxoplasma affects us when we're infected, we also affect them. Our immune system is one of the most dynamic and responsive forces in the world, pushing Toxoplasma to the limits of its ability to adapt. In fact,
Do you hear this shit? So basically, this motherfucker parasite is a super saiyan. This motherfucker get inside your body, basically get beat up by the immune system only to figure out and get better so it can come back and fight again. I know what the fuck y'all trying to tell me right now, white ladies. Continue.
it's been said that Toxoplasma has become what it is simply because of our own immune systems.
Speaking of the immune system,
Sound like symbiosis to me. Sound like paradise, parasite. A paradise full of parasite. Why does the word paradise and parasite relate? Why do people become their most parasitic when they in a paradise vacation? Think about it. The whole idea of parasite being on vacation is just being parasitical, lounging around and everything being given to you. Is it a paradise full of parasites? Yeah. Not taking nothing off of your own innate ability to fight back. Because at the end of the day, your spirit inside of you is stronger than anything. Once you understand that you are not the body, but the body can become under control. And if you let the body get in control of the mind, then you got things on your brain that know how to do shit. Will have you out here willy-nilly. And the whole time you out here wilding out, being a crash test dummy, a hoe, a wild ass demon time nigga saying that I could do whatever I want to do because it's the new age, it's 2020. You never slow down and ask yourself, are these really my thoughts? Am I being influenced?
Toxoplasma has some pretty cool ways to both evade and manipulate it. As the parasite multiplies in our bodies, it sheds pieces of itself that our immune cells can recognize as not being from us. It then begins the beautiful process of mass-producing cells capable of taking care of Toxoplasma. However, for that 1/3 of us in here that's infected, Toxoplasma realized we were onto it, and it began tucking itself away in our muscles and in our brains, as Maddie mentioned earlier. Now, the muscle cysts can often be reached and eradicated, but the brain is an immune-privileged site, and that means that our immune cells have trouble getting there. So if we could harness the immune system's capabilities to take care of this infection before it ever got to the brain, we could decrease the worldwide burden quite rapidly. We could vaccinate livestock so we can prevent infection in our food sources. We could vaccinate women who want to become pregnant before they do.
Y'all can vaccinate or y'all can incubate, because we all know a vaccination ain't nothing but a controlled form of the real thing. Shall we continue?
To ameliorate their chances of miscarriage and birth defects associated with this pathogen. And we could, of course, vaccinate your household cat, Fluffy, to prevent infection in your home.
But what about the 1/3 of us who are already infected? If a vaccine were to be developed,
Listen to the numbers. 1/3. A third of the angels from heaven, sent from heaven. I swear them parasites were sent from heaven. Where the fuck did the fight start at? The fight started in heaven. Why everybody in a rush to get back there? That's where the beef started at. I ain't trying to hurry up and get back to heaven. Fuck that. Everybody want to get to heaven. I'm pretty sure everybody ain't sent hell. I think hell ain't what everybody's saying it is. Yeah, I'm finna go back and analyze that old Pastor's Troy. Vice versa. What if heaven was hell and vice versa? Yeah, because it's seeming like that. Because it seemed like all this fighting and shit that broke out in hell brought these parasites. Here, let's get it.
today, it would still take a generation or two to really reduce the number of people who have this disease. And if I have an active toxoplasma infection right now, I will still have it when I'm 80 years old, vaccinated or not. So what we need to do is to develop drugs that are capable of clearing the brain and muscle cysts from our bodies so that they don't have a chance to come back when you're older and fighting more diseases that could compromise your immune system. But this isn't as easy as it sounds. Toxoplasma in humans are actually very genetically similar. This means that things we can effectively target in the parasite are often accidentally targeted in humans. Take, for example, Daraprim, introduced into the media earlier this year by a lovely fellow by the name of Martin Shkreli when he raised the price of this life-saving drug 5,000%. This is actually the only FDA-approved drug for treating toxoplasma in the United States. But Did
y'all hear that? Now, I want y'all to go back and remember this, because this happened a few years ago when this man raised the price on these pills. I know y'all remember that. It was never, ever framed in the context of that this pill is one of the only things that can fight against this parasite. Man, they said this shit was about some kidney failure, or people with diabetes or something. Whatever it wasn't framed around, yeah, this pill right here is one of the things that kill Toxoplasma gondii, the mind control parasite. Yeah, you know, the shit that make humans run around and want to fuck and crash cars and niggas wild out and get extra aggressive and, you know, just basically become a culture of fucking just wild outness. Yeah, but we don't see that today in nowhere in culture. Yeah, I wouldn't say we infected by parasites like that. I just say that the government controlling us and it's people not taking, man, fuck all of that. What are you eating, nigga?
Toxoplasma in the United States. But Daraprim is not the miracle drug it might sound like. It actually has very serious side effects that includes killing your blood cells, congenital birth defects, and the potential for death. Now, this doesn't sound great to me. On top of all of that, it actually doesn't stop the infection. It just stops it from killing your from killing your cells. So the best option at this juncture is to develop new drugs that have the ability to target the parasite specifically.
And one great thing about the immune system is that it was expertly engineered to take care of pathogens just like toxoplasma. In fact, the way I would confirm that 1/3 of us have it is by checking if our bodies have specifically responded by generating antibodies. Now, antibodies are going to have a particular specificity to a pathogen, and they'll alert the system that there's a problem. So if we could take parts of a pathogen and show it to the immune system before you encounter the full parasite, you could generate that same protective immune response without contracting the infection. That's how a lot of vaccines work. So in toxoplasma, we're taking chunks of it along with immune-stimulating agents to draw a stronger, more robust response. That way, if you eat steak tartare, a raw beef dish chocked full of toxoplasma, your body will be able to register and kill the invaders before they have a chance to form those lifelong cysts.
But if you've already tried the steak tartare, you may be wondering, what about me? Well, in the laboratory today, we are working on hundreds of compounds that have the ability to target the parasite and not the host. This means that we should not anticipate the side effects that are commonly seen with antiparasitics that are available today, such as Daraprim. Additionally, researchers who work on this sort of project are paying special attention to the compound's ability to get into the brain to clear the cysts present there so that they don't have a chance to come back when our immune system is not as well developed. So this means that in the future, Daraprim may not be your only hope.
So if we've startled you with all this talk about brain parasites, rest assured, people are working across the world to both treat and understand toxoplasma, including here in Nebraska. Now, despite all we've told you today, for a long time, toxoplasma was thought to be a harmless organism, just existing in our brains, like a lot of our other resident organisms. And it wasn't until the last 80 years that we understood the negative effects, mostly because of research going on in infectious disease at the time, just like what's going on here at UNO every day. Even more surprising is those behavioral effects were not discovered until our lifetime. So many of you out there might be wondering why we don't have a vaccine or a cure. Many of you might recall the Ebola outbreak of 2014, the Zika outbreak of 2015. These have the same question with the same answer. We have lived with these pathogens for a long time, and it wasn't until they reached an outbreak status that we needed to push back. Research is driven by funding and by demand. If we don't know something is a potential threat, we might not contribute to it until it's in the forefront of the media's eye, like with Ebola and with Zika. And research in the field of infectious disease is far from over. So without your support and awareness, we would not know what to focus on or make progress.
This single-celled organism has likely gained the ability to change our personalities, to induce biochemical.
A single-cell organism has likely gained the ability to change your personality. I really think that we're taking this thing so lightly when it comes to parasites in the micro world, because the human is this fucking giant, this egomaniac, this egomaniac that just feel like they're the pinnacle or whatever the fuck it is that's going on in the you and I verse. That the energy inside of you is separate from the energy that's inside a mosquito or a roach or the tree or the leaf. You feel like you're that fucking special, that it's something going on with you different than anything else. Why? Because you got a body. But that parasite, that microorganism can control that body and bring your motherfucking ego ass back to reality that you ain't nothing but the motherfucking Oz man behind the curtains. You're the soul inside the body. Once you recognize that, you won't be so motherfucking ego heavy to think that your motherfucking body can be invaded by other microorganisms, because your ass is micro.
Chemical changes that alter our behaviors. Now, you've all heard of the crazy cat lady, right? She's the one who takes an uncomfortable number of photographs of her and her cat. Now, some evidence would suggest that this person is likely infected. People who are infected with toxoplasma are more likely to find the smell of cat urine to be pleasant, and also are more likely to be friendly towards cats. So, being obsessed with cats, especially this one, might seem like a lighthearted consequence of infection. But this parasite has also been linked to very serious mental disorders such as schizophrenia and depression.
So what's controlling you may not be that 8 pounds of brain matter in your cranium, but the body's resident organisms. There could be an entire network fighting for control of your brains that we have yet to discover.
Now, our bodies are covered with and helped by these bacteria in most cases.
We are the nation of domination!